our people's property. Don't know who doing it, so don't round me out. Don't send no police round me and tell me shush my mouth. Where's our conviction? But where's our pride? We selling everything, selling our backside. Just go online, it'll make you sick. You can buy any island, just point and click. See, they're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling our hey, hey. Ride him. My mother always say, when you find a donkey, ride it. Who's the donkey? What? Come on. We got a whole nation in 73. Now we getting back the whole country. What kind of fools we must be, selling out for a bag of rice and a cup of tea. You know what does bug me? Help me understand. I can't find piece of property for under 80 grand. But I can fix this, I know what to do. I can squat just like them other people try make me do. See, they're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling our they're selling our country. They're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling our everybody sells some every time. Giddy up, giddy up. Come on. Oh, no. Let's go. Who's the donkey again? They're selling one island. Give away one key. What can be left for you and me? Is this the example? What's our kids to do? You want them have a sense of pride or go selling too? Cause they're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling our they're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling our whole country. Ooh, they're selling our they're selling our country, yes man. They're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling our whole country. Ooh, they're selling our they're selling our country, yes. They're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling
Whoa, girls, we outdoing
It is impossible, Madam Speaker, for us, the Royal Bahamas Defense Force and our law enforcement agencies, to police our waters. 100,000 square miles of water.
First of all, safety, you are safe because you will be engaging the tools that make yourself safe.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
We're in government. We are the government of the day, and we will lead as we see fit. It is what it is.
In a jokey town, a tree.
That's why let the world know. COI or nothing. I ain't got time for that.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of our Vision series on this Sunday, the 25th of February. This year is going fast. February is almost now behind us. You're going to blink, and the year is going to be gone. So we got to prepare. Time is short, and we got some work to do. And that is work to save our country, work to save our nation. But thank you to all of you who have joined us from wherever you're joining from. Remember, make this video important to the algorithm. So make sure you hit those likes. Let them stream up if you're on Facebook. But we are broadcasting live from Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn today. We're not broadcasting from Instagram today. But we're broadcasting from all of these other platforms. So on Facebook, on Lincoln Bain, on Bahamian Evolution, and on Coalition of Independence. We're also broadcasting on YouTube on those same pages. You can look for Lincoln Bain, Coalition of Independence, or Bahamian Evolution. You can also go to my Twitter page, and you can also go to my LinkedIn page. Make sure our business professionals get to take part in what we are doing, what we're talking about. So thank you all for joining us and being a part of this. Today's going to be a very special show because we started to hear from some persons out there who have some good ideas. In our first week, we heard from Graham Bedford, and that was a very powerful show. We received a lot of feedback from it. And so we want to thank all of you who, hit us up, text us, and call us to give your feedback. That was a powerful show with a lot of ideas for our country moving forward. The next week, we met and interviewed Mr. Joe Davel, who is a consummate professional in the environment. He's an educator. He dealt with Catholic High. He advocated to move all of the schools that were in the Hawkesville area from that industrial area to stop students from being affected. And we had a very powerful conversation where he talked about a lot of the atrocities that are happening in Grand Bahama right now with the oil spill and other stuff that's going on. He talked about the fact that Bahamians should benefit from our natural resources. We can benefit from our natural resources. He said based on just what he's looking at, we should benefit from about $75,000 per year for individuals. And we thank him for that endorsement of what we've been putting out there. And endorsing the fact that Bahamians should benefit not just from that, but also from our crown land. We have to think about not ourselves anymore, but about our future, about the future of this nation, about our young people who are being priced out of society. We have to think about that. If we don't prepare this nation for our future, we're going to be in problems. There are many people complaining about the rise of the illegal immigrants who are coming here and taking over and bringing another kind of people here, bringing their children and looking out for their children. And they are now getting the jobs, and they are now getting the contracts. They are now getting the land. They're buying houses, and Bahamians are being pushed to the side. You can't blame anyone for looking out for their children. You can't blame anyone for looking out for their future. But you can blame yourself when you aren't looking out for yours. When you are so busy worrying about someone else. Well, the Bible says that charity begins at home. And this house that we call the Bahamas has to look out for our children. And if we fail to build a country that our children can live in, we are going to fail. Our children are now leaving this country in droves. Half of our children are not graduating high school. We're going to talk about that. And those that do are going away to get a college education, and they are not coming back. We believe that half of them are not coming home. And there's a brain drain that's happening that's going to lead to a serious crisis within the next few years. We have some work to do. But instead of us pontificating on all of this, I want to hear from the young people. So we have some young people that reached out, and we want to hear from them and see what things are looking like from their perspective. A lot of times we have these conversations ourselves as adults, as senior adults, and we pay no attention to them. We make the decisions for them. We're living in their world. Let me make this clear for you. The Prime Minister of this country grew up in the 50s and 60s and 70s. He grew up in a different world. That was his world. He is now governing in the young people of today's world, where they live by devices, where they have a different understanding of how the country works. He doesn't understand this world, and he is leading this world. And maybe that's why we're always so backwards, because we have people from another time leading the present time, and they always keep us back in time because that's all they know. And so maybe we should hear from our young people to see what they see and how they see this time. Not just to merely let them talk, but to let them contribute to the future by contributing to the present conversation. Before we get to talking to young people, I just want to say to all of you, thank you for supporting our South South. We sold out again. Persons are saying that it is some of the best sauce and soup that they've ever had. And I'm proud to say that we had some powerful cooks and chefs that made this possible. And I want to start this out by saying farewell to a very dear friend of mine. Her name is Marsha Marsh. Marsha Marsh, I met in the Free National Movement when I had joined that organization for a short period of time, intending to run in that organization. I met Marsha there. She was a member of that organization all of her life, and she was a member of the Pinewood Association. Marsha was a woman with a very good heart. Marsha, when I decided to leave the Free National Movement, decided that she would come with me, along with the other members of that association. We then wanted to go independent. The DNA approached me and said that they wanted me to run with them instead of going independent. And so I did. And they came with me. We decided to do a feeding program in Pinewood Gardens. And so for months, we fed hundreds of people every weekend. And Marsha did all the cooking. She was aided by Miss Flo, but Marsha did almost all of the cooking herself. It was Miss Flo's dream to feed the people, but Marsha made it happen. And every weekend we fed hundreds of people, not just from Pinewood, but from all over. Marsha Marsh came over with me to the COI. And she again was a strong backbone of our organization. Marsha had a stroke and couldn't campaign as much. I took her every few days. I would go to her house, and she didn't have a ramp at the time, and I would lift her from her house into the car, and I personally would take her to her therapy on Collins Avenue and pay for her therapy. And I would stop and take time out from whatever I was doing to do this because I saw her love for people and how much she gave to people. And how much she sacrificed, even when she didn't have, she would take her last to give. She reminded me of my mother. And Marsha Marsh eventually had to have a procedure done, and the doctor accidentally stuck her, I think, in her spleen. He was doing a biopsy, and he accidentally stuck her. And the treatment she got after that, it was like they were waiting for her to die. Got infected. They diagnosed her with cancer, and with the accidental stick that she got and the leakage that was happening from it, um, she rapidly decreased, and she suddenly passed away in hospital a few days ago. Healthcare is a serious problem in this country. There are so many people who, because they don't have or they're not powerful or connected, they suffer in abuse. The doctor was wrong for what he did. And now another Bahamian woman is dead. He will hear from me. Too many Bahamians are suffering in this country. I want to say farewell to Marsha, a good woman, a resident of Pinewood, one of the first residents of Pinewood from Sugar Apple Street. Thank you for everything you did, Marsha, for everyone you did it for. She was a food vendor at one of the schools, and sometimes she would, and that's at C.H. Reeves, and she would feed those children, even if they didn't have any money, she would give them free food. Sometimes some teachers would say, "Why are you doing that? Why you no feed? Don't give them free food." But she would do it because some of the children didn't have anything to eat. Thank you, Marsha, for everything. We are going to miss you. God bless you. We lost another supporter this week, last week, sorry. And I'm going to introduce you to her. You might remember her from I put this on social media. She was 85 years old at the time. And she had learned so much. She used to watch my live every Sunday and Tuesday. And she said she learned so much of what they didn't know from her generation. And I want this generation who's on here now, you're about to hear from this previous generation, from this almost 90-year-old woman. I am live in Grand in Marco City with Miss Irma, and she's 85 years old, and she just got a message for the young people. What you got to say to the young people, Miss Irma?
I just wanted to apologize to y'all because at 85, all my years, I didn't know what I know now, what Mr. Bain talking about. I didn't know. And I am so sorry. I apologize to y'all. But y'all listen to Mr. Bain. God sent him to free us. Really free us.
So you didn't know about the natural resources?
Didn't know about the natural resources. And right here in Grand Bahama, didn't know what was going on.
You thought we had none?
Child,
So you could. I'm so sorry for technical difficulties. You can go and watch that video on my page. We just want to say rest in peace. God bless you. We love you, and we will continue to fight for you and for the New Bahamas. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to introduce to you a few young people that are willing to speak out, that are willing to speak out and, tell us what's going on, have a real discussion. So this is going to be not just me sitting down and questioning them, but this is going to be a discussion. So we're going to introduce these three young people. We may have a couple sign on if we can get them on while this is going on, but just stay tuned. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce these three young people to you so we can get their perspective of what's really going on there. What are the young people really talking about, man? What's really happening? Because they're living in a different world from us. And so we need to hear from them. So ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Mr. John, Fred, and Darius. All right. So this is John, Fred, and Darius. So, gents, welcome to the live.
Welcome.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. You guys often get a chance to watch this live?
Yes.
You tune in every Sunday.
Oh, every Sunday. Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. So you know what's going on in this country. But I just want to introduce all the Bahamian people. That's real Bahamian young people. And I want the Bahamas to hear what's really going on, man. The older people don't really know what's happening in y'all world, as y'all can see. Y'all know that. There's a lot of young people that are involved in crime and violence. Two of you are from Grand Bahama, and one of you is from New Providence. So that's John, and Darius is from Grand Bahama, and Fred is from New Providence. And any of you can tell me at your speed, what to you do you feel is, based on your conversations with young people today, the most important issue to them today?
What's happening, Mr. Ben?
All right.
My condolences. My condolences goes out to the lady that you touched on a few minutes ago and her family. That is a big concern for me, and she is going to be deeply missed. But for me, over on this side, I feel like one of the most important conversations we have, what I have, especially with my coworkers, is healthcare. And one of their questions was, if not elected, where do you see our future with healthcare going? And why doesn't the government understand that the system they're using now is not working? So healthcare is a big issue in Grand Bahama, at the RAN, and we have a saying: when you go inside, you don't come back out. So
Wow.
if not elected, I want to know where you see our country going concerning healthcare.
Like, I answer questions in a minute. Let me just get the other guys and see what they feel that the number one issue for young people is in this country. Then answer all your questions. Go ahead, Darius. He's saying that they're saying something about the RAN. That's true?
Say that again.
He's saying something about the RAN where they say it's almost like a Roach Motel. You check in, you don't check out.
I ain't lie. I'm scared to go there too. I'm scared to go there too.
Wow.
But for me, a next issue is mostly jobs. Like, you got a lot of people don't have no job and nothing to do, no way to make money. You understand what I'm saying? So you got a lot of people sitting home playing video games and stuff like that, getting themselves in problems because they don't have nothing to do.
I learned.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a major problem.
All right, health, nothing to do. Fred.
Yeah, to touch on basically the two main points of what two of the gentlemen just said, healthcare and people, it is just hard to make money, finding things to do and make money from it. For example, like people who play video games, if they want to upload to YouTube, monetization don't run in the Bahamas, so you would have to go in America, make an account, and connect it to actually make money just uploading YouTube videos. So just to
Wow, that's
touch
a
on
shame.
a little point on what the guy said about people sitting home playing video games and can't finding jobs and stuff like that.
Wow. All right. So I'll start with John's question on healthcare, and then we'll have some more conversations, and y'all can tell me about what you're experiencing. Um, if we don't come to power in healthcare, I'll give you the answer. You know what's going to happen in the future by what happened in the past. All right. I trade forex. I trade stocks sometimes. I taught people on some of this stuff. Right. And the way you know what's going to happen is based on what happened before. So that's how they read the charts to see what's going to happen. So stocks isn't gambling for them. They're looking at trends and patterns, etc., to know what's going to happen. So we can look at the trend and pattern of the past to see what's going to happen in the future. If we vote PLP and FNM again, because they're the person who's been governing the country, you're going to get what you've been getting. And so you had from the last 70 years, one hospital built by the UBP, the white government that they said all these things about. That's the Princess Margaret Hospital, etc. So if you haven't gotten a hospital in all this time, you're not going to really get a hospital in the near future. And if you do, it's going to be so poorly managed that you're going to continue to suffer the sufferation that you've been getting. One. Two, you're going to not be able to afford health care because you have so much persons who have an interest in this, who are the power brokers, who make their money from this. So they're going to make sure you can afford this so that they can be rich and live in their big houses. Someone wanted to build a health city. Well, the government was dealing with a proposal to build a health city in the minister administration in Grand Bahama. And it was blocked by Dwayne Sands, reportedly, because Dwayne Sands felt he would be losing money if we have a health city here, especially dealing with cardio and the kind of stuff he deals with. And so now we have the Cayman Islands with a health city that even our doctors fly down to. They fly to Cayman to get cheaper, more professional and better health care than we have here in the Bahamas, because under the minister administration, where the prime minister was a doctor, the minister of health was a doctor, they refused one to build a hospital, to build any clinics, or to build that health city that we needed. So what's going to happen in the future? If you keep going with these same people, the same thing you've been getting. What's going to happen if we go to the new Bahamas? You are going to get free health care. That's the first thing. And you're going to get new hospitals built on your family islands, because no elderly person should have to live on an island where they have to be transported to get proper health care. There's a serious situation right now where people have to be transported to Nassau if they're in a serious situation. But now only one pilot, basically, one airline company is getting all of the air transport. And so that means if you're in Abaco, for example, and you have an emergency, that person has to fly from Nassau to Abaco or Nassau to Grand Bahama and then fly you from there back to Nassau to get you to the Princess Margaret Hospital. Because instead of how it was before, on the previous administration, Brave Davis and Chester Cooper, them fix it so that one person is getting all of the calls, and so only that person is allowed to come and pick you up and take you back to New Providence. Whereas before they had a pilot on this island, a pilot on that island, and the pilots are now complaining that doesn't make sense. Like, why are you doing this stuff and hogging and all this stuff? But this is what happens when you keep voting for the same people. So that's what's going to happen if you keep voting for these same people. So I hope I answered your question. All right?
Yeah, that was good. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, I think we lost two people just now, so they'll just come back on. The internet is bad, so we'll probably lose Darius in a second, and he'll have to come back on. Because how's internet service in where you are, Darius?
I can't even talk about it. I might like.
Wow.
Horrible.
Wow.
Horrible.
Horrible. Wow.
Horrible.
Let me just get them back on here. Okay, that's Fred. All right, we got Fred back in. So Fred, just gotta turn your camera back on. Fred, are you there? Yeah, he happens to be in the Bahamas where nothing works. Fred, just get the camera and your audio back on. So in the meantime, we'll keep talking. Okay, Fred is back there. Fred, how do you feel about what I had to say about the healthcare situation and what's the concern for young people in as it relates to healthcare?
Yeah, I was not a victim, but I was almost a victim to the healthcare system in the Bahamas. Thankfully, I have insurance, but with insurance, they try to they offer you the best. So I went to the best, which was Doctor's Hospital, and even then, I still had to I was in a serious accident and paralyzed from the chest down. So
What?
even to when after they stabilized my spine in Doctor's Hospital, I still was in such a bad shape that I had to get airlifted to Jackson Memorial in 2020. So I went to the best, and still the best wasn't good enough. So I went to Jackson Memorial to recover and do therapy and stuff like that. So yeah, I was almost a victim to the healthcare system in the Bahamas, but it's still we're still so behind in the healthcare system compared to the rest of the world and stuff like that. So I agree with you. The system fails, and thankfully I had insurance. So imagine others who've been in situations like me, or those who suffer from gunshot injuries and stuff like that, who don't have insurance and just have to sit and suffer on the PMH system.
Wow. Wow. So how is your health now?
I'm good. I'm recovering. It's been 4 years. February 21st makes 4 years since my accident. I started therapy after I came back home in this over here to Doctor's Hospital Rehab Center, but they still didn't have nothing to really cater to my needs. So I had to spend out of pocket money to get uh therapy bike and stuff like that to help with my recovery. Still trying to get some equipment, stuff like that, but everything's going good.
Wow. Wow. It's sad what Bahamians have to go through, and some people think that the young people aren't concerned about healthcare. But a lot of young people have had to experience their grandparent or their parent in the hospital going through this stuff, sitting in accident emergency or getting this bad healthcare, and it affects you when you lose your dear grandmother who you love and seeing this kind of stuff. And that's why we wanna stand up to change the country for you guys, so that we could really have a change in this country. All right. How do you feel? I want to switch. We can come back to healthcare, but I want to switch for a second over to jobs and joblessness in this country. That's something that you brought up, Darius, and you're in Grand Bahama, where it's even more so. Um, you know, nothing to do. Um, how do young people in Grand Bahama and the ones from Nassau, how do they feel about the joblessness in this country right now?
Well, you have a lot of people. You have a lot of people in Freeport struggling. Like literally nothing to do because like I have a cousin. Well, a guy who's come to the shop where we work. They sell batteries and like old radiators and metal and stuff. People have to do that type of stuff to find something to do in Freeport. You would go like the only places with really higher end, I'll say like maybe KFC and Burger King or something like that. But you have a lot of people who don't want them type jobs. They don't want them type jobs. So you have people who would drop their resume off, weeks and months go by, they never get a reply. You see what I'm saying? So literally nothing to do. Literally nothing to do.
So what are the young people doing? Because in Grandmom, I see a lot of them hanging out like at Lukaya and that kind of stuff. What are they doing?
Well, you have I mean Freeport ain't as bad as Nassau where with the killing and stuff, but you have a lot of like a lot of young fellas, they would hang out together, you understand? Form their little gangs or what's not, and that's how they go about it.
Gangs in Grandmama?
Yeah, man.
No, man. What kind of gangs in Grandmama? Grandmama's a family island.
Oh, man. Gangs in Grandmama.
Are they connected to the gangs in Nassau?
Well, I don't know all of that, but I don't think so. I'm not sure though.
So y'all have your own gangs in Grandmama.
They have their own.
They have their own gangs.
Yeah.
And so these gangs mostly they're just into fighting and petty stuff. Because I know Grandmama has a serious drug culture from fellas again smuggling drugs and stuff from Grandmama over to Florida and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Talking about these kind of gangs, are you talking about the young people gang, like the school people?
Young, like people younger than me. Got fellas younger than me. 10 years and under, starting from age 13 and stuff. Yeah.
Wow, someone online says gangs in Eleuthera. Wow.
Yeah, man.
I can tell you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so like I saying, like stuff like that, and then that's how, to me, how I think. I feel as if us young persons have like an opportunity to like have work to do, like make solid money, we wouldn't really be in problems like that. No need to, you know what I'm saying? So that's how I think it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's an issue with crime too. You see what I'm saying? All it trickle down to making money.
So you feel a lot of young people are committing crimes because they don't have a choice. They don't have nothing else to do.
Something like that.
I know when I was growing up, I went to school in South Beach, Princeville, which was that area. South Beach was the Raiders or Rebellions. And I grew up in Pinewood, which was the dogs, the swamp of dogs. And so I was like in the middle of two war zones. And when I was growing up, you were forced to join the gang based on where you live because you went to school based on where you live. And they know, well, for government school, they knew where you live based on the uniform you was wearing, most likely. And so there was always these wars. And it was like you had to join the gang because your parents couldn't do nothing for you. The police couldn't save you, because they're not going to be on the bus with you when you get an attack, and they're not going to be to school with you. And so you were kind of forced to join the gangs. And this was a culture that was going on, and parents didn't know about it. They didn't know what their young people were going through growing up. They had no idea. And the same thing is continuing today. I'm hearing now it's gone to the point where there are in the schools, I know in Abaco and in New Providence, for example, there are gangs, and there are some Haitian gangs and Bahamian gangs, and they're warring on a school level. And a lot of people of Haitian descent, young people, don't want to join those gangs. They're forcing them to join the gang. If you're supposed to be one of us, and the Bahamians are fighting in this cultural kind of ethnic war. Now, I don't think y'all have that in Grand Bahama. Do you all have stuff like that going on in Grand Bahama?
Not to my knowledge. I don't know.
Because you don't have too much of the ethnic kind of clash going on in Grand Bahama, but this is going on in Nassau, and a lot of young people are forced to deal with this. But let me switch to something else. A lot of young people have reached out to me, and they have said basically that they are being replaced. Again, I don't know what's happening in Grand Bahama. Grand Bahama is just dead. All right. But here in
Yep.
New Providence, a lot of young people are being replaced. They feel that they can't get any job no matter what skills they have. Um, what are you guys hearing on the ground from young people? I don't know what part of Grand Bahama you all live in, but I ran in West Grand Bahama recently, and there were a lot of fishermen, and there were no docks, and there were no opportunities. There still aren't. Tell me about a little bit about Grand Bahama and what's happening there in terms of young people being displaced, and any vision or future for them.
Well, it's the same thing in Nassau. Yeah, people, they bring in the foreigners over here and take most of the jobs and give it to them. Um,
That's
in
happening in Grand
Grandma, yeah, man, yeah, man, that's how it is, and that's something you see every day. Um, so that's just what it is. People gotta defend for themselves. That's what we're doing. We defending for ourselves. You're hustling every day. We trying to make something happen. We trying to stay with the problems, and that's an everyday routine. You understand? You
Bahama.
try better yourself, even though you don't see nothing there to probably help you by bettering yourself. You gotta have an imaginary mind and put your hustle to the test to make it happen. That's what's going on in Freeport.
Wow.
Yep.
Fred, let me
You
hear from you
gotta
on
About the jobs.
yeah, about Bahamians being replaced and being really pushed out of opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's been happening for years and years to come, but um, I think it's just getting a little bit more drastic now. Ever since um, ever since the pandemic, I think it's more on a larger scale as much. I mean, it was as much as it was before the pandemic because I worked for a drywall company in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
When they was renovating the Royal Towers. I think this was right after the time at the Dorian. So they got some people from Freeport um to come over and work with the renovating of the Royal Towers. But I know specifically there was this I think it was a plumbing company, and it was just mainly Spanish people, and I can't remember the company name or whatever, but I know it's been they've brought in foreigners from years and years, and it's just I think it's just much on a larger scale now
Mm-hmm.
since the pandemic.
Okay. Wow. Now, y'all see what's going on in the country. Y'all just typical young people, and y'all are going to be voting next time. How do you feel about the job the prime minister of the country is doing?
Job,
Gary's laugh.
what
How do
job?
you feel about
Like did he say what job?
so you feel he ain't doing no job?
I mean, in
He
the
ain't working.
probably in urban renewal areas and low like in low poverty areas, he might have couple fixes and couple situations sorted out. But on a man's frontline scale of the Bahamas, I don't think we've made a step in a direction where I've been impressed. Especially with all the traveling. Um, I think at least the Bahamas name uh, um, should be intertwined with like major developments and major companies um, that support different areas of networking and stuff like that. Like for example, I know you said that you traded forex. For some, even for some from some brokers and stuff like that, to branch off the money that you made from a trade, it's still different. It's still a lot of brokers that doesn't support a Bahamian bank account. You would have to sign up for PayPal, and I think you have to sign up and you'd have to set up your account in the United States and all, just for your PayPal account to actually be linked in to trade forex and stuff like that. So it's so much. It's our country is so far behind,
Backwards.
and so for on the traveling to these different places and stuff like that, like Dubai. I know we've done a lot of tourism, and I know our tourism advertising is always there, but the country economical wise needs to be as on the same level as the advertising and tourism.
So, how do y'all feel about the prime minister and all this traveling that's going on? Y'all feel this making sense? That this making sense to y'all with the job they're doing with him and Fred traveling everywhere?
Ain't nothing what the prime minister doing making no kind of sense. So y'all definitely traveling with all this money where he ain't even his own. It definitely don't make no sense.
Wow, wow, wow.
I live in Freeport. You understand? And it come like the Port Authority is our government. We don't know of PLP and F, and then we know whatever the port run in Freeport is whatever the port run. So
Wow.
I can't say the prime minister making no kind of sense to me because I don't see him here. I don't see him here. Nobody sees him. And I know he have his workers with his come around and every election because you don't see them here now. They focus on I believe they focusing on things that they could put on the news and try get some type of clout off it. But it different than what you really think it is and what's going on in Freeport itself. We we
Wow.
we step children to the government, man. Everything in Nassau. I gotta go Nassau to look for everything I need.
Mm. Well, that's something we definitely going to change because we're going to island states and city government. So every single island would have all the resources they need, and they'll get to keep their money. When I say resources, I mean all the facilities they need, from healthcare to police to ambulance to fire. Every island, if you want to inhabit an island, you have to make sure it has everything that humans need to be able to function. And so that's something that we're definitely going to put in place, and we have to do that at some point. Um, there's this big brag. This advertisement is on the screen now about 9.6 million visitor arrivals to the Bahamas. Well, I mean, the money ain't going in our pocket, but we got 9.6 million visitors. How y'all feel about this and this accomplishment for the Bahamas?
So what
A
part?
quarter of that.
What part of the Bahamas?
Freeport,
Quarter of that.
right? Freeport. Are you sure they come in the Freeport?
Yeah,
No,
by the
sir.
trickle, not by the boatload, man. They coming by the trickles. You barely see them.
What?
They
Y'all ain't feeling the
like
tourists,
I
man.
say
What?
like I
Ah,
like I say we used to step child to the government, man. Everything in Nassau.
right.
Okay, but the Bahamas got 9.6 million tourists. I mean, how do y'all feel about that? You think that's going to benefit us? And you feel anything different in the Bahamas on the whole?
I mean, go ahead, someone.
I mean, honestly, I don't see nothing happen for free, but if you be honest, plus you hardly see them.
Wow.
And if you see them, like normally you would see like the Forbes charter bus, you'd see a bus, and like it wouldn't even be full. So
No,
yeah,
trickle.
Wow. Wow.
yeah. So they ain't
So
free, but
So, our our vision for tourism is basically for us to own our tourism product. I don't see where it benefits us to have 9.6 million tourists, and we don't own the tourism product to be able to benefit from that and keep the money in this country. Only 1.7 million of that is is stopover. So let's say about 8 million of that is cruise ship tourists, 8 million cruise ship tourists, and 1.7 stopovers, which we're not even number one when it comes to stopovers. Cuba doing better than us. All right. But we have a lot of cruise ships coming here. And so that's 8 million cruise ship tourists. And guess what? 80% of them don't even come off the ship. All right. Or they go to some island, Coco Key, et cetera, where the benefits, the money only goes to the cruise ship. So how does that benefit us? Let's do the real math. So 80% of when y'all grab a calculator, all right, 80% of $8 million. Anyone, do it quick. 80% of $8 million. All right. I ain't seen no one head going on to calculate. So I think that's $6.4 million. I think that's right. You have confirmed that. Yeah, I think that's not dollars. 6.4 million persons never came on the ground. 6.4 million people didn't touch the ground in Nassau. So you're bragging about 8 million cruise ship tourists, but 6.4 million of them won't even come off the ship. And those that come off the ship ain't bringing no cash because they're telling them not to bring any cash. So it's like we're staying back in the dark ages. I want to inform you all, and you can tell the young people that you're talking to, that in the New Bahamas, we're going to do what Dubai did. We are going to form tourism companies that are going to have tourism developments and own cruise ships and own hotels, et cetera, so that the Bahamian people would automatically have shares in this, and others would be able to buy more shares in it, so that we can develop as a nation. And because if you get 10 million tourists and whatever they do is Bahamian owned, the money stays here. But if Carnival is making the money, remember, they paid for that cruise in another country. That money never came here. So the money even coming here and getting exported. The money never came here because they bought their ticket overseas. Make sense? So the money, they're using our country, but they're generating the money in some other country. And so it's not benefiting us. And so and now they're doing Coco Key and all these other keys, and the money is never coming to us. So what are we bragging about? What are we bragging about? I want to skip over to something else. They're trying to touch a lot of things, and I'm gonna sit down and let y'all ask me some questions in a minute. I'm not gonna open the phone lines. Crime. How do y'all feel where y'all are as young people about the job that the government is doing on crime? You heard the Prime Minister's words. They're now putting some stuff in place as it relates to bail. It's like the murders keep happening. Another young 16-year-old, that's another young person like y'all, got killed today, and their father, who was coming to pick them up to take them to church, his father wasn't no gangster. They're trying to say these gang-related killings. His father wasn't no gangster or involved in any gangs, as far as I'm hearing. I could be wrong. But I'm hearing that this is a man who's coming to pick up his daughter to take her to church and got shot up, and his daughter got shot up. A 15-year-old got shot up the other day. How do you feel about crime as a young person in this country, and what do you want from the government? Any of you?
A cause and effect. So the effect on crime is, I mean, it's especially the ones that aren't gang related, like the thieving and the robbing. I think that's just a cause and effect for idle hands. People don't have nothing to do, can't find jobs and stuff like that. So they pick up, they go to what's the illegal thing to do or the wrongest thing to do because ain't nothing going right.
Wow. 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 All right. I just see someone made a comment on here talking about tourism thing. He said the 80% number is not true. He said he works on the cruise port. Okay, so if the 80% number is not true, that's the number I received personally from my experience. I took several cruises, Bahamian cruises, and I saw for myself, persons didn't come off the ship. I saw for myself that they gave tourists information. They even slipped something under your door with information to not take money to shore. Be careful if you're going to take your cards, et cetera, et cetera. They were discouraging persons from going over the hill and doing certain things. They said only take the tours from the cruise ship, et cetera, et cetera. So I witnessed certain things. As I was in the dock, I saw that the restaurant was full. The ship, there's like no one left. And I asked the staff themselves also, what is this normally what happens when they come to Nassau? And they said, yes, this is normally how it works. Persons just don't come off the ship. All right. And so if that person can tell me the numbers, then that will help. So I hope that isn't just someone just trying to argue because of the situation for the government or whatever. Because this has nothing to do with the government; it has to do with the state of the nation. Because this government didn't start this problem. This problem is going on for a long time, and we need to fix this. So if this jet flight burn of 80% isn't the situation, then let us know exactly what it is since you work on the port. All right. And then we can go from there. All right. Let's go from there. All right. Let me sit down and let you guys ask me some questions. I'm sure you talk to a lot of young people like yourselves. They have questions. Everywhere you go, persons are talking about the platforms that we put out there, the solutions for this country that we have been putting out there. You watch it every week. Sometimes there might be some question. Someone says that's the truth. Sometimes there may be some questions that person may have that you may not answer, be able to answer. So do that now. Do you guys, before I open the phone lines, do you guys have any questions for me as it relates to young persons, the future, anything that you've been hearing about party, about me, that you don't understand? No holds barred. You can ask any question you want. Go ahead.
Yeah. About the $100,000. If you was to win, like how soon would the individuals be able to get that?
So you think before I answer that, I want to say this. Do you think that we need a change of government and the way we go forward?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so $100,000 or not, we need change, right?
Yes, sir.
Good. And so to develop that, to make sure that people understand where that whole notion came from, we started to do research on the natural resources, and we started to do research. We saw where the unions had done some research on aragonite alone, and they had said that every household can get $100,000 based on the profits that can be made from the aragonite. I've put those documents out there many times. I don't know if you guys ever saw them. Perry Christie, they met with Perry Christie, presented to the government, and the government took on that and started saying the same thing. And not only that, they said that that Perry Christie put in place the Sovereign Wealth Fund. That's in 2014. He created the Sovereign Wealth Fund because they wanted to make this thing happen. And that's the Sovereign Wealth Fund that they never did anything with because they never intended to. And the Brave Davis just took away from the Bahamian people to make sure we don't ever benefit. But I started the research from there. I said, you know what? They were just researching aragonite. But based on what we're seeing, there's more than just aragonite. There's aragonite, there's limestone, there's salt, there's treasure in our waters, and there's so much other things that we can benefit from. And we said that every Bahamian adult can get $100,000. And that's where we began our research. And so we believe that within about the first year, we should be able to start having persons benefit. And so that begs the question, how? And a lot of people are telling me stop talking about it because Bahamians just don't believe it. They don't believe they're worth it. They don't believe that it could be done and they could use it against you politically. So you need to stop saying that $100,000 thing. When we put it out there, we were Bahamian Evolution. We were not running an election. We did not intend to run an election. And so it's not a political reason that we did that. We presented our documentation and presented it to government so that they can see what can be done. When we saw that they were fighting against what we were presenting and doing, we decided we have to go get this done ourselves. And so that's the real story of where this came from. So how would this be possible to do something like this? Have any of you seen Vaughn Miller's speech from the House of Assembly, where he talked about the $5.4 billion worth of limestone being taken out of Grand Bahama by Bahama Rock alone every year? Have any of you seen that?
No, I didn't see that.
Nobody heard.
Yeah,
You heard about it?
I've seen a clip.
Yeah, so clips have been going around in the House of Assembly. Vaughn Miller said that Bahama Rock is exporting $5.4 billion worth of limestone. All right, you all in Grand Bahama, you see the crane going down and digging every day, right? You see it on the holidays, Christmas, New Year's, in the middle of the night, that digging, right? It never stops digging. So that's a crane owned by Brent Simonet and the crew that they are constantly digging and making the money from. All right, and so he said $5.4 billion. Let's do the math, because there are people saying that this is impossible, it can't work. Lincoln's math is off. Again, it's not my math, it's the math of the PLP, because they started this and we just evolved and we took it to another level. And so if that's, let's cut off the 0.4 to make it clean math, and let's say it's just $5 billion, right? A year. Okay, $5 billion is enough to give 50,000 people $100,000. You see how simple that is? That's one natural resource and one company. We believe that there are about 150,000 Bahamian adults 21 and over. All right? Because we want to start you getting it from you attain the age of 21, right? So that's 150,000 adults. All right, the workforce is only 195,000, but 150,000 adults we believe that are over the age of 21. So that one company and one resource, that's 1/3 of it right there. You see? So now, if there's more than one company doing the same thing, that's just limestone. That ain't the sand yet. That ain't the salt yet. You understand? That ain't the aragonite yet. That ain't the treasure in the ocean yet. So when people tell you this can't happen and it can't be done, tell them, we'll get out of our way. What do we have to lose? So based on those numbers right there, which is not my numbers, does it make sense that we can provide this for our Bahamian people? That's starting to make sense to you all now?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's just one company and one natural resource. Now, bear this in mind also. That's the raw value. So that's just what they valued it with customs, just to be able to ship it out. That isn't what they make from it. They could make double, triple, 10 times, depending on what they charge from it. They could make $54 billion from that 5.4 worth of limestone they took out. Because you're not going to sell it for 5.4 billion, right? And you're going to do some processing to it to turn it into cement and turn it into some other stuff. So you make the big money from it. That makes sense? So if we now get into the processing of this stuff, how does that change the game for us? So that's 5.4 billion. We could triple that right there by making lime, using the lime, to make cement, used to make concrete, et cetera, et cetera. And where are we now? So when you have these visionless leaders from the 50s and 60s, this slave mentality, sitting down and telling you something can't be done, just sit down and break down the numbers, and then let's make it make sense. As simple as that. You see, Dr. Miles did a speech before, and he said something that's very powerful. He said the slave master taught you how to pick cotton, but they didn't teach you how to make the cotton in the cloth. They taught you how to plant sugar cane. You're good at that, but they ain't teach you how to make sugar. You see? Because that's where the money is. Those Arab states, they doing good, you know. They make they drill for the oil, but they don't process the oil. They don't refine it, which is where the real money is. You see? We're going to change the game in our country. Our generation has to change the game. We need someone who was not born in slavery. Like the Bible says, woe to the nation when a slave becomes a king. We need someone who was not born before 1973 running this country. That makes sense?
Makes sense.
We need someone who's born in the Bahamas, not in England, not in the British Empire. We need someone born free. And that's why we need another generation to take this thing over. So for your math, now remember, the reason it's not going to be done instantly is because we're not taking the profits that's going to be made. We're going to trade those, whatever profits is made on the market, because we're not touching the profit. So if from our natural resources and our treasures, let's say we make $1 million, right? I just call them easy numbers. That ain't the real numbers. We are going to take a percentage of that and trade it on the market like Norway does. And when we trade it on the market, we're going to take the return from the trades, and that is what we are going to use for infrastructure in our country and for Bahamians to get a piece of this pie, to provide our services first that we need. We need our electricity fix, and we need our electricity service for us personally free, to give us our free health care, to make sure that no Bahamian suffers from what they've been suffering from. So we're going to use the profits from it that we trade on the markets to do that. So like Norway now has $1.4 trillion from their sovereign wealth fund. They traded a percentage of it on the markets, and they made over $250 billion. Not a dollar in oil sold, nothing. That's during the lockdowns while the whole world was shut down. They traded on the markets with their sovereign wealth fund, and they made $250 something billion. And so this is where we're going to get the money from. So the $1 million that we make, just coming back to my false numbers, the $1 million that we make, all right, is not going to be touched. That's going to remain for our future generations, and we're going to trade a percentage of it where it's not too much risk. And then from the profits is what we're going to do the payouts and everything else from. Make sense?
Yeah.
Good. So that's to your $100,000 question. So once those return on investment starts to roll in, then everyone is going to start to get their investments from it. All right. Any other question?
So all these taxes you've been, and every time you go in the food store or anywhere else, you got to pay VAT and all these other things. What's going on? But we don't get nothing. We don't get nothing back or return tax or anything back from it. And we still don't see the money. So I'm trying to figure out what's the situation with that.
Yeah, so we're gonna move from a nation that makes money from taxes, from taxing the poor people, because only the poor is who is being taxed, really. The rich aren't being taxed. So VAT, the business people aren't really paying the VAT. All right. So they are getting their VAT returns. So they are getting returns. So every time that is sold or anytime they do something, they can deduct VAT from their business expenses, et cetera, et cetera. The business people are getting, the poor people are who is paying the VAT. And this is where the problem comes in. And the PLP government, when Perry Christie, when he was bringing this VAT into play, was told that this is going to hurt the poor people. It's a regressive tax, and only the poor people will be paying this. But of course, they said, we'll just give $20 million more to social services. In other words, you'll be begging, you'll be on the line begging for backpacks and this kind of stuff. begging for books at the end of the day. And you will be worshiping your MP because they come around with $50 coupons, and that's it. All right. So we're going to move where we're benefiting, like Norway does, from our natural resources and sovereign wealth fund, like Dubai, Qatar, and all these countries your government is traveling to. They're traveling to these countries, but not doing what these countries are doing because they don't want persons to benefit. And that's where the problem is.
All right.
Right. Any other questions?
So do we get rid of social service too? Because they're making it.
That's the phone lines going already. I'll answer this call. Just give me 1 second, caller. We are going to do away with social services for Bahamians. Social services is going to be for foreigners who are here working for us and need the help. All right. But Bahamians are going to benefit from their natural resources, so we're not going to need social services unless we keep voting for it. Bahamians might like to beg, they might like making the politician rich and them begging. So if they like that, then come on. This is a free country. Majority rule. If they like, see, that might be a cultural thing. You might like taking your family when it's back to school, going on that line and begging for a backpack with a politician name on it, or begging for a backpack and a couple of books. You might like doing that. That might be like a family outing for you. You might like going to the hospital and need no beds for you. If people like that, then they can vote for that, and you can't kill them for that. This is a free country. Let's go to the phone line. Good afternoon, you're live.
Good evening, Mr. Bain. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
All right, I have many concerns. My name is Julian Bartlett, and I'm from Grand Bahama, from Western East Marlborough.
Hi, Julian.
And how you doing? All right?
Yes.
Hello, and hello to your panels from Grand Bahama. I'm not certain which section they are, but I have a lot of things on my mind right now. But as of the last by-election, let's start there, because I'm just wondering if our Bahamian people really gets what's going on, because we have experienced politicians in charge of our country, right? I mean, they have all the experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have a hospital that's probably just as old as Princess Margaret in Nassau, called the Rand Memorial Hospital, right?
Yep.
That's been renovated so many times that we can't count. I mean, millions of dollars have been put in the Rand Memorial, and it's no better. I know the place. I've been in it. All right. Then we have the fact that we have an airport that went down during a hurricane a couple of years ago. They were given a tin building as a temporary building as an airport in Grand Bahama. And that hasn't been resurrected yet. That's two things. The hospital of death, and that's what I'm going to call it, the hospital of death. Because I'm a health fitness person and I like to keep myself healthy.
Jillian, before you go on, you're talking about the airport, right?
Airport and hospital.
Yeah, the airport and the hospital. But I'm going to pause you on the airport for 1 second. I want to show you something, and I want to know if you know what this. I don't know if you can still see your screen because you're on the phone with me. Do you know what this is in the front of? I have on the screen right now. Does anybody know what this is, guys? Any of y'all know what this is on the screen?
It look like a waiting area.
Yeah, waiting area.
A waiting area. Okay, they say that's a waiting area.
I can barely see it.
I can't see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where they waiting.
Oh yes. I see it. Yes.
What's that?
That's an umbrella on the outside of the hospital.
No. That's a tent. Not an umbrella.
Yeah.
That's a tent. But let me show you another picture. Let me see if you get it. If this is a better picture. Look at that.
That's the airport, man. That's
that right there. That's Cat Island Airport. This is the Customs and Immigration section of Cat Island International Airport. All right, as you can see, the rust draining down from the roof, all on the walls. The doors broken. It's full of mold. And the people outside under a tent, and they only under a tent because we went there to expose what was going on there. And when we went there, there wasn't no tent, so they out of the tent. If this what they get in Cat Island, how Grand Bahama expect to get something better than what the Prime Minister giving his people?
Right.
How you expect to get an airport in Cat Island or Grand Bahama if the Prime Minister's travel budget is $86 million for this term?
Well, my point exactly. Okay, Lincoln, I believe that government need to get out of the medical and private investments. Okay, because airport is a private investment coming to the Bahamas, which brings revenue, which is supposed to be the number one. Do you know how much competition we have all around the world? And I wanted to ask the panelists, because I keep asking everybody who I know from Grand Bahama, have they built the new hospital yet? Have they completed the airport in Grand Bahama yet? Because I count the openings, I count the news release, and both politicians on the minutes and on the, what's his name, Ray Davis, ain't nothing open yet. Anything finishing, anything close to finishing, and this is what we get from experience.
Well, I personally went to the area where they say they were doing the new hospital, and I saw no work going on when I passed there. I don't know if work going on now, but when I passed there, I saw no work going on at that hospital. What they're alleging is going to be the new hospital.
So let me end by saying, you see, I rest my case right here. If this is how the experienced politicians are performing, we don't need them. We do not need them back there to tell us what. Now wait.
But they say they qualified, Jillian. They say they're qualified people. They say you need qualified candidates, and you need these people who, good at what they do.
My point exactly. So what about the ambulance since the by-election? Did we get that yet in 8 Mile Rock?
John, you'll get ambulance in 8 Mile Rock yet?
No, I think ambulances have to come from the RAN and drive straight up in 8 Mile Rock. I think that's how that go.
No. They said they were sending a new one.
Wow.
A new one.
Say that again?
See, my point exactly. They said they was going to send a new one. It's coming from Nassau. I feel like, new ambulance coming from Nassau. They got to be used one. Did y'all get that yet?
The answer is no.
Okay, so why are we wasting our time even listening to them talk? Because I see how they perform in the last 2.5 years under Brave. They have 35 plus years experience as politicians. And we have to look at that. And yes, Lincoln is right. We passed the era of the Brave Davis thinking. Long time, Terry Christie too. And minutes. We need new leaders to be running our country. That's what I want to say.
Thank you, man. Appreciate your call. All right. This phone was beeping off the hook just now. 803-5995 is the number. We didn't open the phone lines, but I guess we got to open it now. Good afternoon. You're live.
Very good afternoon, Mr. Ben. How are you?
Good, man.
Great. Good evening to the panelists. So, one question. What I cannot understand in this country. Now, as you know, our young people graduating out of high school, and it's been happening since 2012 up to now. Well, high school students graduating, and by the time they collect their diploma, they cannot collect their diploma. You have hundreds of students through this country who can't collect the diploma. What's your thoughts on that?
What do you mean by can't collect their diploma? You mean they don't qualify for it?
Well, they qualify for it. They get all the BJCs, BGCSEs, but when time to collect the diploma, can't get the diploma. I know a couple of persons right now who graduated and still waiting to collect their diploma. Graduated 5 years ago, 4 years ago, and still waiting to collect their diploma. But this goes to show the type of country We live in a stumbling block. Whereas you graduate and you can't even start your life. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah, but thanks, Mr. B.
All right, man. Thank you for that too. I'm gonna show you all something. I'm gonna share my screen and show you all something now that's mind blowing. All right, and this is on education. And since we're talking to young people, there's something that we got to show you. All right, because Bahamians, I don't know if they're really paying attention to what's really happening. So I'm about to share my screen. So this is a newspaper article. This is Friday, January 12, 2024. It says the drug law. They're basically saying that this is what's causing a lot of people to end up in drugs and crime, etc. It says 50% of school leavers lacking diploma. So this ain't the ones who qualify and can't get the diploma that the caller just talked about. 50% of the people who leave school ain't graduating. They're not getting a diploma. They just leaving school. All right. And these people are being lured into the drug game and crime, is what they're saying. So this is horrible. And they're saying that there's a new release by the Apprenticeship Policy Framework. There's a document. Go and read that document. That's linking educational achievement to and lack of basic skills to high crime. So crime is being connected to education. And they've come to this conclusion. All right. And they know this. But now the problem is, if y'all know this, why aren't y'all doing something in education? How do we know they ain't doing nothing in education? Because this was 2024. But let me show you another article. This article is from November 14th, 2013. All right? It says half of public school students don't graduate. So this was the problem from over 10 years ago.
Right.
It is still the problem today, and they acting like they knew. Like, oh, this is a new problem. We got to do something to fix this. And this under the same government. All right? And this was under the ministry. This is under Jerome Fitzgerald, who's the Minister of Education at the time. All right? And he says, I want to give you some startling data. That's what he's saying while he's the Minister of Education in 2013. He says, I want to give you some startling data, which really goes to the point that we have to do things urgently, he said. Y'all see that? Y'all reading this? He said, we have to do things urgently in order to address the educational system and achievement of our kids, said Fitzgerald during the debate on the compendium of anti-crime bills. So from then, while they were talking about crime and what's going on, they were saying that crime is as a result of poor education. All right? And so from then, we realized we had a problem. And he said it was urgent. That is over 10 years ago.
Urgent, yeah.
And look at this.
Wonder if that's
Bahamas
before
government
or
and
after they
opposition
initiated the
agree.
average.
Bahamas government and opposition agree public education is a failure. What now? So the government and opposition have been saying that education is the problem. It leads to crime. And here, this article from last year, June, government schools are failing our children. You see?
Yeah, so.
This has been a problem, but we live in a country where these people have been intentionally keeping us dumbed down so that when someone comes and brings us intellectual information to tell us what we should benefit from and what's really going on in this country, they're going to say, oh, that can't be done. They want to keep us dumb and stupid so we can't ask for what is rightfully and truthfully ours. Let's go to the phone lines. Good afternoon, you're live.
How you doing, sir?
I am awesome, man.
What are the solutions for this broken education system we have in the Bahamas? Because, like you said, this was 10 years ago.
Yes.
So, what are the solutions? Because if this was the message 10 years ago, we're reaping the results of what they were saying 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So for me to say Lincoln fixed this issue, I know that's not realistic.
It's very realistic. And I'm going to tell you how we're going to do that.
All right, I'm going to jump off the line.
All right. Good question. All right. It is very realistic and it's very easy to fix our educational system. We transformed from a quality education system into quantity education system under the Progressive Liberal Party. And they watered down and dumbed down the educational system. So we only get just what you need, but not enough to teach you how to be thinkers. We released our plan for education, which is on our website, the coalitionofindependence.com. Go to our vision and you can see our plan for education in this country. It's actually in written form and it's also, in fact, I'm gonna pull something up for you right now. It's in written form and it's in video form. The video on that day wasn't the best, but we want to transform education. One, education is going to be free up to a PhD, from preschool to PhD. Education is going to be absolutely free in this country. All right. A lot of countries have done it. We're backwards and we have not. All right. Just want to put up this in this website for y'all so y'all can see that we're not just talking about this. We have planned this thing through. Good. We've planned this thing through. All right. So I'm trying to pull up the website for y'all. All right. So we have a lot of things planned for our educational system. And if you go to our website and you click on the vision, I'm going to pull it up for you right now so you could get a peek of this, but I'm going to walk you through it because all of this stuff is in my head. We live this. We put in the research and we're ready to implement this whole thing from day one to transform this nation of our country. Professionals have seen this. So we've got assistance from professionals in the United States, in the Bahamas, etc., to put this together. Teachers have contributed to this. We presented this to the teachers union and it was impressive to everybody. So the video is there if you want to watch the video. And also we have it here in writing for you so you can see exactly what it is. And you can actually contribute to this vision also. And so here we're dealing with the whole student. We're going to do assessments from an early age. And those assessments is going to determine if students are vocationally inclined or academically inclined because people learn differently. And other countries around the world are focusing on this. In Europe, in Finland, etc., where they have the #1 educational system. In other countries, in Cuba, they realize that people learn differently. So there are styles of learning, and we're going to focus on students. We're going to identify students that are more dexterous, which means they learn with their hands. Students that are academic, which means they learn from up here. And we're going to figure out their style of learning, and we're going to teach them based on their strengths and their style of learning. And so whether you have athletic students, we identify students that are athletic based, and we're gonna have their programming so that it's based on their athletics along with academics. But you can't have an athletic based person who is being forced to compete with someone who learns academically, and then you're telling them they're dumb. So basically what it is that you can't grade a fish on his ability to climb a tree. And that's what we've been doing with a lot of our students. All right. We're grading a fish on their ability to climb a tree. And that's where we've been going wrong. We have to identify them. So we're starting out from preschool. We talked about the different things that we have here for preschool. It's going to be free for everyone. They're going to get introduced to foreign languages from that age so that we can compete on an international level. And so everything is right here. Primary school, we have what we have planned for primary schools, how we're going to learn how students learn differently, and we're going to target that. We have to transform the system of the educational system. All right. We're going to record and assess students' social interactions. So at-risk students can be identified early and assisted and monitored. All right, and this is to be facilitated by teachers who are trained to be a part of an intervention program. All right, and so we dealt with an expert in the U.S. who invented an intervention program in Florida and uses it to make sure that they can assess where students are going wrong, and then they can come in and they can have teachers trained to give them the extra classes and whatever these students need. Secondary school, everything is there. We're going to eliminate BJC and BGCSE. Sorry, who love them and who just feel attached to them, but they're going to be gone. We used to have GCEs that made sense some time ago. No college outside of this country accepts BGCSEs. It is absolute nonsense and a waste of time. And you're starting children at a disadvantage because some students can only take up to a C grade. So you're starting out by telling them they can only get a C. That is so ridiculous. If I am taking an exam, how can you start out by telling me I cannot get the highest grade in this exam? Who thought of that? Is what I have a problem with. But nonetheless, it is going to be changed. All right. You may have not been doing well in school because you're not good at homework, et cetera, et cetera. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to take the exam and get an A because you're good at exams, because you understand everything. All right. And that's what we need to change. All right. And so we're going to transform that. We're going to have standardized end of year exams, and these will be used at all grade levels, which will enhance testing and an evaluation center. And so I want you to go there and look on the website for this. I can't go into everything with this, but we have a task force we'll be putting there. High performing schools and teachers will be recognized. Now, the union of teachers didn't agree with this because they didn't want some teachers feeling like they were failing, etc. But in other countries, they rewarded teachers for if the schools were high performing, and so we believe that we should do the same thing. Again, this was one thing that the union of teachers didn't agree with, but I guess we'll have to have a conversation with them on that. All right, so we're going to structure the curriculum. You see, agricultural science, trading, the Bahamas Constitution. You're going to learn about financial literacy, business, technical and vocational studies, history of the Bahamas, including African history. So you're going to learn about finance, you're going to learn about business, you're going to learn about trading in school, because we're going to now start developing Bahamians who are business-minded and not minded towards just getting a job to work for some foreigner who builds a hotel or comes here and does some investment. We are going to build Bahamians who can now think to do the investment so they can think bigger. All right. And so certification classes will also be available in schools as a part of school curriculum, et cetera, et cetera. And there's stream education. So go and look at this. I don't want to read through all of this in here, but that's science, technology, reading, engineering, arts, et cetera. So all of these things that we put together, I can't go through all of this now, but by identifying the needs of these kids, how they learn, etc., we feel that we can change the game in terms of education. All right. There are countries that have done well with this. Japan, Finland, all these other countries that we have studied have done well. Their educational system makes sense. Ours makes zero sense. All they teach you to do is regurgitate information that was given to you. And so we are going to change the mindset of our young people and give them a proper education that they can use. In our country, they give you algebra and you never know what you're going to do with that. You feel you're never going to see it again, and it's a waste of time. All right. That's how a lot of young people feel, I mean. But when you learn algebra in other countries, they teach it to you with a view to using it. Use algebra to build this bridge. If we're going to put a bridge across this river, this is what you use algebra for. All right. They teach you to think so that you can put it to use. But remember what Dr. Miles said, they teach you how to plant cotton, but they don't want to teach you how to make cloth. So our educational system doesn't want you to learn how to invent, how to do anything. All right. I have children that are in school in the U.S. You had to learn civics in order to go to grade 8. All right. They had to learn. She learned entrepreneurship in grade 8. civics to go from grade 6 to grade 7. Civics means constitution, learning the Constitution, learning how the government works, etc., etc. They taught this stuff in school. Science projects. Now, y'all see the children on TV doing science projects and stuff because they want to teach you, give you learning that you can apply to life. That's the difference with our educational system. They don't want you to think. They don't want you. They just want you learn this stuff in school and hold this mop, mix this drink, make this bed, scrub this toilet. We are going to change that. And we're going to make education make sense for our young people, because this is the only way that we're going to change that we get the change that we need to see in our schools. All right, we're going to be number one in sports, in certain sports. We're going to target track and field sports where we have examples already. Track and field, basketball, tennis, because we have a tennis pro from doubles. We're going to be the best in the water because we're an archipelago. We're going to be the best in the water. All right. And so certain sports we're going to target to make sure that we excel in that. We're going to invest heavily in that. Why? Darius talked about idle hands. I grew up in certain programs, and that saved me from my neighborhood. I was born in Angleton, and I grew up in Pinewood Gardens. And what saved me from the streets was I was always involved in something, whether it was martial arts or singing or music. It saved me. I didn't have time to be on the streets. And Urban Renewal does a pretty good job of that, but we need to make this more expansive, and it needs to be a part of our system. We are going to hire the coaches and bring the coaches in to train our athletes here. And now you're taking the kids off the street. You're giving them a proper education. And so the Jamaican track and field athletes train in Jamaica. Our track and field athletes train in the U.S. Even if you got a child as a basketball coach, you try to get him in high school in the States somewhere while he's in high school, or you go to college to try to play over there to get somewhere. No, we want to start training you from here. All right? So some of the things that we're going to invest heavily in education. Sports is going to bring the money back because there's big money in sports, college football in the U.S., college basketball, etc. We're going to get this money back whenever they see our name on a jersey around the world. So it's going to pay dividends. And so we're going to invest heavily in education. Last reason I feel this needs to be done, not only will it reduce crime, because that's what the government have been saying for decades, it will reduce crime, but it would also attract foreign investment to this country, real foreign investment, because now you have skilled persons that are in the Bahamas that can work. The reason for a long time, when you call Scotiabank, someone in Barbados answer the phone, because Barbados gave free education to their people, and now Barbados is excelling. All right, because companies can go there, and the populace is so educated. It's mind-blowing because they focus on that. The same thing happened in Ireland, where they educated their people. So now companies like Google, which is Alphabet, and other companies are opening up there because they have the skilled labor. The reason China is big is not because of cheap labor. They could get in other countries, including Africa, because they have skilled labor. China is big in terms of manufacturing because you can find skilled labor higher because they focus on education. The same thing happened in Japan when they went into electronics, because they spent the decades before that educating their populace, and school education was a big part of what they do. And so the big companies move there. And so we are going to, I'm trying to put this in a nutshell. We are going to use education to transform our nation. Every revolution starts with education. Che Guevara. All right. We are going to educate our people so that we have a people whose mindset are changed. So you wouldn't have people going around saying, oh, we don't deserve to have the benefit of natural resources. Oh, it's impossible. No. We prefer to have outside toilet, and we prefer to beg our MPs and depend on them. We're going to change this. And so the reason I'm talking to people, and the reason I'm going to be focusing on young people is because if our generation fails us this election, you're in trouble. You all are going to have to fight a greater fight than I am fighting right now. And I hope that something I inspire the next generation. Nelson Mandela did not let himself out of jail. He did not, he was forgotten for 27 years. And it was the new generation that woke up and they remembered in the 80s, they remembered this man from years before called Nelson Mandela, who was fighting. And they started to hit the streets because Nelson Mandela's generation failed him and failed themselves. And they decided to stand up and they got the world with them. So if our people are still so caught up on the PLP and FNM that they don't want to make change, that they want to continue to be beggars and stay in the wilderness for another 40 years, your generation is going to have to rise up. All of the tapes are there. All of the videos are there to inspire you, the new generation, to stand with me now or to stand after. Talk to your parents. We can't. My dad died in 2002. He never imagined that I would be paying VAT in 2016. He never imagined that. He never imagined we would have any kind of sales tax or income tax that they're now talking about, corporate tax. He never imagined that. But it's because he failed to stand up to Brent Simonet in their generation. And his daddy failed to stand up to Pop Simonet in their generation. I got to stand up. And so I hope that answered your question on education. For the person who called in, I just tried to put it in a nutshell. We are going to invest heavily in education. It's going to stop crime, et cetera, et cetera. Another thing that's going to be done, and I should let you all talk more and question me more, but I just have to answer this properly. When people benefit from their natural resources, they're not going to be inclined to steal and rob. They're not going to be. And that is going to solve crime in and of itself. And we're going to put in there for persons who do certain things. So open for questions for you all again. If you all have a question on anything I just said just now, or you want me to clarify something, the line is open, 803-5995. For those who are watching live, you can call in now, 803-5995 if you have another question. That was a good question, young man. But this is for the Joshua generation. And so we know we have to make that change. Y'all have any more questions? 803-5995 for persons who want to call in. If you want to make a statement, if you have a question on whatever is going on. All right. So they don't want this to happen. So their only solution is they're going to try to vilify me and vilify the movement to keep us dumb and to keep us poor. But it's time for change. All right, any of you gentlemen, any of you have any questions? You want to say something, any statement?
Yeah, pertaining to the BJCs and BGCs, some jobs don't even ask them, don't even ask for them no more, that I heard of. I've seen plenty companies online don't even ask for them. They just ask for resume and or referral letter or stuff like that, and diploma. Sometimes not even diploma. I see on the company's advertisement.
Yeah, that is actually true. Those they're a waste of time. All right, and so we're gonna move away from them. We'll still allow people to take their SAT exams because if they're going away to college, etc. But actually, there's something else. We just were joined by San Desario. Shan Desario just joined us. So Shan Desario, we can't see you or hear you yet. So just make sure you fix your audio, etc., so everyone can hear you, so you can join in. One thing we're going to do that we saw the Middle Eastern countries do, Qatar, Dubai, etc. We are going to target Ivy League schools and Division I schools in America to build a campus for them in the Bahamas at our cost. And that's what they did in the Middle East. So that now, for example, let's say you convince an MIT to come and open their school in the Bahamas. MIT only has a certain amount of seats in America. So when that's full, that's full. But you can get the same MIT education right here in the Bahamas that you can put in Andres, for example, and now make a college city. There are cities built around colleges in the United States. Boston has a lot of that. And now you can get an MIT education or another Division I school or a proper school here, because they have to educate you on the same level that they would do in America. So Canadian colleges and American colleges have moved to the US, moved to the Middle East in order to educate students in the Middle East. So now everyone from the Caribbean can now be coming to the Bahamas to go to whatever Ivy League school we get to open up for the Caribbean students here and Latin America. Good afternoon, you're live.
Hey, good afternoon, Mr. President.
How you doing, man?
Good show as usual.
Thank you, man.
And to the young revolutioners, the young people now, right? What I love, right? I just wanted to say, right? I have a saying, right? And it just didn't start it, but when it comes to those elderly people, the people in my age in the 50s and the 60s, and the people older, right? We fail the Bahamas, right? And for that reason, I would not vote for nobody who's older than I am.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? Because they didn't prove that they don't deserve our votes, right? They just don't deserve our votes, man. So I'm gonna go with you on that. If you're older than just to me, if you're older than 50 years old, right? Don't come knocking on my door, right?
Wow.
Right? Because it ain't making no sense. Don't come.
Yeah.
All right?
All right.
Have a nice day.
Thank you for your call. At the next election, ladies and gentlemen, I will still be in my 40s. So just to put that out there, Pintard will be into his 60s. He'll be 62, and Brave Davis will be 76. And so both of them will be able to stand in the senior citizens line in the bank. And I will be nowhere near that. All right. We need change. We need someone who is born free, not born under the Queen. Someone asked a good question here. It's on the screen. Will cryptocurrency be legal in the Bahamas? Yes, cryptocurrency will be very legal. Ecuador did it, and they made it a currency of their nation. We will do the same thing. There's certain things that we will have to put in place to make sure that there's no inflation effects to giving Bahamians $100,000 or whatever it is that we and the people decide to do. There are people who are concerned that, there's going to be inflation. There's already inflation and we're getting left behind. We don't have the money. Everyone else got the money. So I rather risk inflation while I have money than risk inflation without money, because inflation there anyway. Someone stopped me in the store and showed me that a loaf of bread was over $5. A loaf of bread was over $5. So don't tell me about inflation. Now, that's a good point for some persons. Cryptocurrency will assist with certain things that we want to do, but also, and we feel that Bahamians should be able to trade. They block everything that we could benefit from. You're not allowed to just go and trade on the stock markets around the world. They don't allow us to trade. Why? Because you could make money from that. That's what the wealthy people do. All right, Chandazario, make sure that I see you logged in, but we can't see you or hear you. I want you to get in on this. They block you from investing outside of the country freely. Oh, yes, we can hear you now. Welcome to the show. We just can't see you yet. All right. So everything that
my camera's not working right now. I'm trying to get it up.
No problem. We can go with your voice. They block everything that can benefit Bahamians, and Bahamians aren't paying attention to this. All right. We are going to open up this market for Bahamians. They use the excuse of exchange control. We're going to get rid of that. All right. We're going to get rid of exchange control. All right. And there's certain things that we have to do for that to happen. And one of the things may be dollarization. All right. But we want to benefit from our natural resources, and we will benefit from our natural resources. If anyone have any question about inflation, I'm free to answer that for you. Shan Nazario, welcome.
Welcome. I don't mean to cut you off on them, but y'all was talking about education.
Yes, we were at one point. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
What's the purpose of getting a bunch of education, no jobs, or to get this education when you come back home?
Well, I want to say this to you and every other young person that is out there, and thanks for joining us too. I want you all to understand this. If you never remember anything else that I've ever said to you, Jobs are for experience, not for life. Jobs are for experience, not for life. They teach us our whole system is based on making us labor. And now we're in a situation where, because of the policies of the FNM and the PLP, we are being replaced as labor when that's all they taught us to be. But now we're being replaced. And so what else do we do but leave the country? So now Bahamians are starting to be like Jamaicans and Haitians and going elsewhere for a better life. We never thought we would get to that. But that's where the problem comes in. And so we want an educated populace, because educated populace is able to think. We are going to let Bahamians benefit from their natural resources so that they can now be entrepreneurs. They can build the dreams that we need to see. God put inside each one of you a gift, something that's for this nation. But they make it so that just a few people have the money to fulfill their dreams. And they stop you from getting capital to keep you down. All right, and to keep you as slaves, and so you can't do anything, and so we're dependent on the oligarchs and the politicians to tell us what needs to happen in our country. That's why nothing gets done. Look at every family island. But in the new Bahamas, you and your family are now going to have the money given to you so that you can fulfill your dreams. And some people can spend their money, some people go waste the money and squander it, but they can waste it with you, because you are going to, if they want to buy fancy cars, you sell them fancy cars. They want to buy a cars knock, you sell them the cars knock. They want to go to the club every day, you open the club. But the money stays in the country. It don't go nowhere. You see? And so eventually, when they see you coming up with your money, as an example, now we're going to have more examples of Bahamians coming up, not just through being a political crony, but coming up because they invested. Now, when they start to see your example, oh, look what this family do, they got together and look what they did. Then they're going to say, okay, we got to stop wasting our money. When our next year come around, we're going to invest. All right? This brother is the smart one. He got the gift. We can invest in his gift. You see, now it's going to start the transformation. And this is what happened all over the Middle East. And it happened in an experiment that they did in Canada, where they did the same thing. They gave away what is equivalent to $96,000 in our money today. They gave that to everyone in the whole state. And people didn't get lazy. They didn't get less education. They didn't do more drugs. Everything started to balance out. There was no crime, no corruption, less drug use from less stressed out people, and it fixed the whole nation. And this is the dream that we have for the Bahamian people. We're going to give you more education, and you are going to create the jobs. Jobs will not be for Bahamians. Jobs will be for the foreigners who come to work for us. So we're not anti-foreign. We don't feel that no one should come here and work for us. So get rid of all the Jamaicans, get rid of all the Haitians, all the Filipinos, all the Chinese. No. Y'all come. But you can work for us. That's a game changer. We ain't gonna live in the ghettos. Someone else can live there. In fact, we ain't have no ghettos in our country. Every area is gonna be properly developed, like they do in Singapore, etc. We are gonna be the people who doing the work. I hope that answers your question. You have anything else you want to say?
And also in inflation, why would the government try to control inflation if it'll bring more money to them in terms of taxes? Because I remember
you are correct. Just to make sure everyone clear in what you're saying, the reason the government wants inflation to happen is because that's how they can make more money from VAT. Because you pay VAT based on the price. So if the price of bread is $1, they get 10 cents right now. If the price of bread is $5, they get 50 cents. And they didn't have to increase taxes. All they did was make sure that inflation existed so they could get more money from you. So they could say, hey, no new taxes. Because we can tax you to death, because we can increase, make sure inflation happens. And that's why they're doing nothing about inflation. They're keeping the price of electricity high because the FNM and PLP is making money from focal. And so they're going to keep that high. And that causes inflation in and of itself, high electricity, because every business needs electricity. All right. So you're absolutely correct on that. What island are you from, Zario?
Nassau.
You're from Nassau? Okay. Which school did you attend?
High school?
Yeah.
I went to Doris.
Doris Johnson. Okay, went to Doris Johnson in the South. We were talking earlier, and I just wanted to get your take on this. About, well, I mean, the education there is pretty good. But how do you feel about the education at Doris?
It was good. It was good.
Okay. And in terms of the social parts, the crime and what's a lot of the in Nassau, what's a lot of the issues that the young people have?
I mean, I'm older now. I wouldn't know what to say about the 16-year-olds and 15-year-olds right now, but back
Oh, you think
then,
he's fine now because he out of school? Yeah, go ahead, man. It's kidding.
I mean, it changed a lot because when I was inside school, I see them having locks now. Like back then, we had a car here ball. Like
Yeah.
a lot has changed.
Yeah.
Slowly, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and the young people in Nassau that you're talking to, what are some of the biggest concerns that the people in your age and the people under your age, what's some of their biggest concerns right now?
Basically money, because like what is the future living in the Bahamas like if only kind of jobs you get who are actually making money right now is the hotel jobs, and and not everyone can get a hotel job.
Do you understand the vision of the COI as it relates to tourism, with the hotels and the cruise ships, etc.?
I haven't really followed. Like I just just ask questions
But
about.
let me tell you what it is, just so you understand and so that all of the young people would understand. Um, they have created plantations in the country, and we are going to take over those plantations. I got an example from the Cameron plantations in America, where the slaves actually bought out their master in the middle of slavery. They bought out their master. He was a little lazy. He wanted to move west where all the gold stuff was going on, and they convince them, listen, you can go, we'll do all the work, and we'll pay you for the plantation. And he said, y'all are slaves, y'all don't have no money to pay me off no plantation. They said, listen, man, we will pay you out in 5 years, and if we don't pay you in 5 years, you just keep the money we gave you and you come back and take your plantation back over. And he was like, okay, deal. Business wasn't going good for him anyway because he wasn't a good businessman, and he left the slaves on the plantation, and they took over the plantation. They freed all the slaves on their plantation, but they still acted like they were slaves so that the general public around them, the town, wouldn't know what was really going on. They always saw the slaves anyway because they would deliver stuff for him, and they would go shopping for the owners, etc., etc. So they didn't know what was going on, and these slaves took over. Hold the line, caller. They took over the plantation, and they did extremely well, and they became extremely wealthy. They had a head start. Other slave plantations started doing the same thing. They don't tell you these stories, but all over the Carolinas, the slaves actually started buying out their slaves plantation or taking them over, and there were over 140 something slave plantations that were slave owned. And they don't tell you this story because they don't want you to be inspired to do this kind of thing. But what we're going to do is we're going to take over these plantations. That don't mean no foreigners going to own hotels. Of course they will, all right? But we are now going to own plantations ourselves. We're going to own hotels, and we're going to bring people in to work for us. That's what they did in Dubai. When they found oil, they got a loan based on the value of their oil, and they started building these hotels and these skyscrapers and all of these attractions that people would want to come to see. And their tourism went from 0 to tens of millions. While we're bragging about finally getting to 9 million, this desert nation already been there and done that. And we've been in tourism for all these years with all these tourism experts, and we bragging with 9.6 million tourists, and we right in the mouth of America. Jesus. All right, Disney World getting 90 million tourists. Florida is getting 130 something million tourists, and when they get that little bit, they complain. All right, they ready to lynch the governor. All right, 130 something million tourists in Florida, and that's the ones they can count, because the ones who just drive there, they can't count them because they just drove in and stayed. That's the ones they can count, like us who flying in, etc., and staying in hotels. And we're right there and we brag about 9.6. We have to stop selling for less in our country. We're going to transform this thing. We're going to own the cruise ships. Every Bahamian will get a share, and then you can buy more shares based on your capability. But just for being a Bahamian, you're going to get a share in all of this, and we're going to make sure a piece of the pie goes to everybody. All right, because when the people feel like they own the country, they're going to take better care of it. All right, and that's how we're going to transform the game. And I'm summarizing everything, but let's go to the phone lines. Good afternoon, you're live.
Hey, good evening, Mr. Bean, and good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
I'm here in North Carolina. You just spoke about Carolinas. That's where I'm presently residing.
Yes.
But I am a Bahamian and wanted to come back home to do some business, right?
Uh-huh.
And had a little gathering by my home with some of my cousins that are over here as well. And my youngest cousin, having a conversation with her. She's about 17 years old. And my question to her was, would you like to return home? She said no. She said, as long as I could get conch and Publix, I good. And that kind of was concerning to me. You know what I'm saying? To your point, a lot of Bahamians, young Bahamians, are leaving home and don't want to return. And as myself, I did leave because I came over here for better opportunities and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But I meet a lot of Bahamians right here. I think back in the day, I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. And we have back in the day, Cindy and Mother Pratt had a program at St. Aug's, the school here, the college here in Raleigh. I think it was music and sports, and a lot of Bahamians stayed. And so I meet a lot of Bahamians in the area, and nobody wants to return home.
Wow.
And that's kind of, it's kind of saddening to me, and I understand why. And to the young man on your panel right now, I applaud them for staying and sticking out, and everybody else who's listening, I applaud them for staying and sticking it out. But yeah, it's almost like one of those countries that we used to see back in the day. Now, back in the day, Bahamians had so much pride. Bahamas was not ever on a list as far as in the U.S. for immigration reasons or whatever, people running from their countries.
Wow.
And now we see a lot of people leaving the country. So I just wanted to drop that on you and hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
And have a pleasant good night, Mr. B.
Thank you, man. We appreciate your call. We have another call coming in. 8035-995. I think we lost you. 8035-995 is the number. You can call us back now. Bahamians are leaving for a better life, and we never thought that we would have to do this. But our country is falling apart on every level. And education system is a failure. Healthcare system is a failure. Crime is a failure. Services are a failure. Let's go to phone lines. Good afternoon. You're live.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bendy upon
Yes.
Okay, I see you're upon a lot of young men, which is encouraging.
Yes.
Now, look, I tell anybody who, like myself, who have been off the university and came back home with some education, create your own job, create your own employment, create your own business. I took my business practice, all my theory-based information from university 15 years ago, 19 years ago, and I started businesses.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you go to university for. You don't go to university to go and run into someone else's country to build a country. You go to university to get the information and come back to your country, like I did, and become a man. Get a business.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go on someone's job. Not settle for the less. Not settle for anything. Break your ceilings. Establish your pay, like I did. When I came back from school and I started my business practice, I was making $150 an hour. 28, 29, 30, 31. $150 an hour. And I've been working on my own ever since. So I said, any person who go to school and spend all that money on their education, start a business. That's when I know you're serious. And to everyone who go on to school and stay, I say you're weak. because you come home and you fight. You can't fight for your country outside of the Bahamas. You can't be afraid to be victimized. You can't be afraid to lose everything if you're doing it for the right thing. So my advice to you is be like what I did. Come home, start my business, run for politics as independent, and run my country soon. So that's what big and real men do, no matter who you is. I'm 41 now. And I've been working on my own ever since. And so y'all could do it. If I could do it 10 years ago, whoever we talking about, they this and they that and all this and opportunities, come here and create your opportunities and help build the country with us. That's all I have to say.
Thank you for your call, man. How do y'all feel about that?
Makes sense.
Yeah, it is the only way. Anyone else want to say something on that?
I think that's the only option we have, especially in grandmama. That's what I said earlier, to try build yourself, like the caller said, build yourself off someone else's job and try to open your own business and try make something of your own self. That's that is my intention too. Because
Yeah.
I work at a restaurant and I see myself making money for them when I could have been doing it for myself. So right
Yeah.
now, my plan is to open up something and keep it moving like that. You understand? And that's what we need to all do over here instead of worrying why the minimum wage so low and they can't feed their kids and depending on the government for everything because the government can't and won't do everything. So that's my 5 cents on that.
Yeah. I had my mother's best friend. Her name was Helen, and she's passed away now. But she started with Checkers Cafe, and she gave them their name for food, and then eventually, they kind of replaced her, and they started hiring these other people, the Haitians, etc. And next thing, she was without a job. And she went to Double D's. If you're in Nassau, you might remember what Double D's was. And she gave them their good name for food. And they did the same thing happened there. It's like the business owners keep replacing you because they need to make more profits. And there's no such thing as a secure job. And we have to get our people out of this job mindset. And the future of the Bahamas and for our young people is not go to school, get a good education, to come back and work for somebody, to live the Bahamian dream, which is a government home and a Honda with rims. Those days are over. All right. We are going to own this nation, and we have to train our people to own this nation. When we go into the promised land, we're not going into the promised land to be slaves. We are coming out of slavery, and we have been in the wilderness for too long. And now the Joshua generation is going to cross over Jordan. And the first thing they did in Jordan when they took that over was they gave every single person a piece of land. And they cast lots. There's a flat disc they flip. That's what a lot is that the priest kept. I'll come to you right now. Just hold the line. They cast lots. They flip the disc that the priest carried with them. And heads, you get that piece. Tail, you get that piece. And that's why they call plots of land now today lots. Because the children of Israel, they cast lots in order to determine who get what piece of land. So the first thing that they did was give everybody a piece of land. That's empowerment. The first thing, for those of you who believe in God, the first in the Bible, the first thing God gave man was land. And told them about the natural resources on it. And it was to be used for their benefit. And that's what happened with the promised land. It's a land of milk and honey. The fruits are this big. And this is the new thinking of the new generation. And we will get there, and we will get there together. But we got to fight for the promised land. All right? So Bahamians got to stop being soft. The people in power will not give this to you. Brave Davis ain't giving this to you. If Chester Cooper come next, he ain't giving you nothing. He can come and make himself look good, make himself sound good, so that he can continue for him and his people to be rich. Pintard ain't giving you nothing. You got to take this.
Right.
Phone lines. Good afternoon. You're live.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Mr. President, it's a privilege to be watching this and listening and seeing these young lions out there.
Thank you.
You know, because how I see it is, this new generation, the generation of lions, it's time for them to eat.
Yes.
The hyenas in the land and the old lazy old potcakes, pushing them aside. You know, like when you look at those documentaries, you see the old lion sitting there, and hyenas they eating up things in the ecosystem that didn't supposed to eat, bringing the whole thing down, and they pushing the lion, saying, listen, hyenas in the land, and the old lion he laid down. But no, now here it is, the old lions, the old potcakes are being challenged, and they don't like it.
Yes.
And now as I'm looking on the screen and I see these young men and I say, you know what? There are thousands of young Bahamian men and women out there. The young lions, the young lion tops. It's time for them to eat. It's time to eat. It's time to stand up. Because the thing is, I could share my personal experience as working downtown Nassau at a jewelry store, jewelry perfume store. And I'm telling you, when the Indians gonna tell me, you cannot use the bathroom in here, go to the supermarket or go to Burger King, you cannot use the bathroom in here in my own country. Or you cannot bring a cell phone to work. Do you understand what I'm saying? In my own country. Go back on the sidewalk, get the people that come in the store. That's your job. What are you doing inside? Go outside. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Here it is. Now, I encourage the tourists to come inside the store. I say, welcome to the Bahamas. Good morning. Welcome to the Bahamas. Welcome to such and such store. You know, they come on in. We have blank, 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 blank. And they come inside the store. And then our foreign owners, people on the full smile to these people. Mm-hmm. Because the bottom line is, they just want their money. They want their money. That's it.
Yeah.
And if those people doesn't buy, then they say to me, listen, just don't send anyone inside the store. Look for the people with the money. Let them come to us. But then at the end of the week, they give us crumbs and send us back over the hill.
Wow.
They send us out from downtown because downtown Nassau, I look at it as a wall. People coming into our city, and we have foreign nationals at the city gates, collecting the best that what these people have in their pockets, that they taken from them. But insult to the Bahamian workers in these stores downtown, it's unbelievable.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I remember I send you a photo of some ladies wearing a particular T-shirt.
Yeah, it was insulting.
It's very, very insulting. They make our women wear certain uniforms and call the other foreign nationals, say, look at them, look what they're wearing.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
All right.
But we should do better.
Thank you, Coleman.
Yeah. Thank you for the young lions. It's time for the young lions to eat.
Yeah, man. We will do better. This texter had a comment. It's very interesting. He said, why not teach fishing and sailing in high school since we have 100,000 square miles of ocean? Yes, we are going to master in everything in the ocean. The ocean is where our wealth is, and we are going to master the ocean. That is where the money is, with our treasure, with our aragonite, with our sand, etc., with our fish and the natural resources in the ocean. Fish farming is huge. The majority of fish eaten in the world today are farmed fish. China is number one in that. We're going to take that over because we can farm in some of our harbors and it can be healthy. But I just want everyone to know, all right? We're not interested in giving you a fish. That's the BLB. We're not interested in teaching you how to fish. It's kind of the F&M. We're interested in teaching you how to own the boat. And I hope you get the difference. It's time for us to be the owners. We need to own the boat, own the equipment, and own the business. We don't want you. We don't want to feed you. We don't want you to just feed yourselves. We want you to feed others so that you can be an entrepreneur and that you can be a benefit to this world. We come in to own the boat. That's what this is all about. The new generation, a new kind of thinking. I'm Lincoln Bain, and I'm a runaway slave. I'm calling on all Bahamians to join me. I just want a last word from each one of you gentlemen. What do you want to say to people your age? What do you want to say to the politicians in this country? The people their age, and to the politicians running this country. Well, you have a word for them. So we start with you, Darius. Send you on the top of the screen.
All right. For people my age, I'd say just keep going, keep fighting. You know, believe that change is coming. You know, and to the politicians, I would say like find time to communicate with us. You know what I mean? Stop isolating yourself, making it seem as if you're all better than everybody else. And yeah.
Thank you, man. Fred, you next.
To the people at my age, I just want to say to pay attention to the trends. Like you said, it's always a trend with these two organizations. Um, Pay attention to the games they play and realize that everything they do is not in with the benefit of the Bahamian people, but to benefit their pockets. And you know, to the politicians, I just want to say, just do a better job.
All right, thank you, man, and looking forward to meeting you one day soon. John.
Yeah, yeah, to all my people, just keep it moving, keep doing what you've been doing. Just know the way. Um, and for the politicians, we have a voice too. You understand? We are the ones that could vote. We are the ones who put you there. So you should sometimes, like Darius says, take a time out and go around. Don't wait for election time when you're looking for a vote to hear the concerns of the Bahamian citizens. So just keep your ears open and listen, and that probably might help you to stay where you are for another couple of years. If not, then you gotta go. So just hold on, young people. Keep the fight going and keep hustling.
Zario. Now go ahead, Zario. Okay, I don't think we're getting any audio from Zario. This last comment on here, someone says, "What is this I listening to? What is this I listening to? Isn't this Lincoln Bain who promised Bahamians $100,000? Dude will say anything for a vote." These are the trolls who don't want Bahamians to benefit from anything. These are the paid trolls who don't want us to benefit from anything. And I would ask this person to go back and watch this show. I think I answered that question. And we hope that you will wake up. Let me take this last call. Good afternoon, you're live. Okay, we lost them. Sorry about that caller. Ladies and gentlemen, we're looking for a new Bahamas. We're not promising anyone anything for a vote, but we're promising you that if you keep voting the same way you've been voting, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. If you vote differently, you will get something different. I think that's common sense. And we must be insane to keep doing the same thing that we've been doing. Okay, this person keeps calling, so let me just take this last call. Good afternoon, you're live.
Good evening, Mr. Ben.
Good evening.
And good evening to the panelists you have there.
Yes.
It's great to see you have these young men who are standing up in this time and in this age for the next generation. It's a privilege and it's an honor to see you have them out there on tonight, standing up for their peers and for the Bahamas at large.
Yes.
You know, Mr. Bean, I don't see no future right now for our young men and our young women in the Bahamas because there's no legislations that's being passed for the young people to be able to even have proper education, proper sports, proper healthcare in this country. I believe it's time that the people open up their eyes and see that if they was to get sick today or tomorrow, we don't have a proper healthcare to even take care of them if they have to have surgery. I mean, you have to get out of this country and go maybe to the States to get the proper health care you need. And when you talk about education, I mean, our people in Grand Bahama have to leave Grand Bahama to go to Nassau to take any type of test, whatever it is, to practice their education. They have to Go to Nassau, you don't have a proper place in Grand Bahama. I'm trying to figure out really and truly if our politicians, if our leaders are serious about our young people in the Bahamas, and especially in Grand Bahama, because children are coming out of school in June. I'm wondering what's the plan for them when they come out, and it's bad to see that our people are leaving the Bahamas and are going abroad for a better life when we here in the Bahamas, we are blessed to be in this land. Everybody is coming here and are benefiting except the Bahamian people. It's time for the Bahamian people to stand up and demand that we benefit from this country, because this country is wealthy. We see it just by going on the beach. Everybody come here to visit our beach, Mr. Pitt.
Yeah.
Everybody come here to visit this country. So we are this country, and we are not blessed, and we are not being blessed because we continue to elect leaders who don't have no vision and no love for the Bahamian people. So I just hope our people wake up and smell the coffee and see that these people who we put to represent us, they don't love us. They don't care for us. So we need to elect persons who love us.
Okay, connection is pretty bad. But thank you for your call, man. We appreciate it. Our men are under attack in this country. And I want to thank all of you men for having the courage to do this. A couple of you have met before, and some of you have not met before. Looking forward to meeting y'all. Our men are under attack, and it's going to take us to stand up. It's going to take real men to stand up. Like they did in the Pinland era. They were real people. We know them today, but at the time they were basically nobodies. And they decided to stand up and do what they have to do. And so we're calling on all of our men to come and unite together, join together to fight for our nation. We can't let this go. We have to stand up and fight. We can't all just leave and go away and leave our Bahamas to be taken over by others. I'm going to stand and fight to the last man. We got to stand up for this. And so while they are cutting out our young people, Paul Sweden is trying to call in. 8035995 is a number. I don't know who Paul Sweden is, but they're asking for the number. So I'm just going to give them it in case they want to have a last word. 8035995 is the number while I'm closing out. Our young men are attacked, and I'm calling on all of our men to stand up. You see other new third parties popping up and trying to say they want to do their thing. Makes more sense for them to come together instead of trying to do their own thing. You're not going to win like that. We got to work together, unite. If we believe in this new Bahamas, if we believe that the PLP and FNM have been failing us, we have to stand up and come together. Let's not waste time. Let's stand united and save our nation. So for all the young people out there, the older people might be caught up on PLP and FNM and treating it like a sport. They're not thinking about you, if that's what their feelings are. They're thinking about their politicians and a little contract here and there. We can change that. Those days are over. And so thank you all for being a part of this, being brave enough to have this conversation. And we're looking forward to meet you all. Ladies and gentlemen, our convention is on the 13th. It is really the official launch of our organization. We were a group of independents working together before, but we're now forming an official party. We're going to launch our constitution. We're going to vote for our leader, deputy leader, and chairman, and all the other positions. And so on April 13th, all right, we want you to show up in the evening and hear what we have to say. And we're going to start the fight for this new Bahamas. It all begins on April 13th. We are going to stand up and fight. We're going to officially launch, and we're going to get this going. That morning, for persons who are delegates, you'll be able to come in and vote for the leadership of this organization, and then we will move forward. We believe that election is next year. That's what we believe. That Brave is going to call it next year. He won't wait until 2026. We believe he's going to call it next year, and there's certain reasons, but we'll get into that. All right? But thank you to all of you young people that tuned in. Thank you to all of the young people that participated in this. We are going to take the country back. This is not going to happen if we do the right thing. This is going to happen if you do the right thing. How do you spread the message? The media is blocking us at this time. So there are people out there saying, "Oh, Lincoln Bain is going quiet," but I'm on here every Sunday. And last month we went to Abaco and tore up the place, and the government came following us. Trying to make promises. Right? We've not stopped doing what we are doing. We are still all out trying to save this country, but they're not showing us in the papers and in the media. So people are thinking that we have gone quiet. So whenever you hear people say that, just tell them that I am on every Sunday at 5 o'clock where they can come and they can hear the message of the New Bahamas and they can see exactly what's going on. We've not gone quiet. But how is this message going to spread? Every family member and friend that you have, you talk to them. You work on them. One person at a time. I've had people reaching me and showing me, calling me in groups of people saying, "Lincoln, I was the only one in my house who voted COI last time. Now my whole house, 10 people voting COI this time." That means we just multiplied by 10. You may have a house with 6 people.
Right.
You work on your house. Now we multiplied by 6. You have your co-workers. They may not believe a politician. They're going to say, "Oh, Lincoln Bain is trying to sell dreams. This is impossible. Let's just keep dealing with Crooked Brave, them, Crooked Pinta, them, and Crooked whoever them. Let's just keep them because we can't get $100,000. They want to make you focus on the wrong thing so that you keep getting no hospital, no services, no nothing in this country. But you got to talk to your people because they trust you. All right. And you got to keep coming here for the message every Sunday. If there's a question they ask you and you don't understand, you come here and you ask me that tough question, or you let them tune in and you say, "Okay, I'm going to ask Lincoln this question live. I want you listening for him to answer the question." And it's any question. I don't mind. Even questions about my personal life, I answer because I feel that all politicians should be accountable to the people. All right. And so I've said to someone recently when they called me and asked me questions about me, I said, "Listen, if the PLP and F&M had anything on me, anything, they would have jailed me long time. They would have destroyed me long time." Think about that. I've been fighting them for 20 years, calling their names, exposing them. If they had anything on me, I would have been gone a long time. So I have no problem answering any questions, but we have to spread the message. So I am not the messenger. We are the messengers of a New Bahamas, and we will fight this fight together. It's not just about protests anymore. Protest means we're going to the government to ask them to do what's right. Y'all please do what's right. We ain't asking for nothing no more. We coming to take this government and we're going to do what's right. We're going to throw them out of that House Assembly and we're going to transform this country and give it to the Bahamian people. So thank all of you for joining us. Let's stay strong. I'll see you again next Sunday where we continue our vision series where we're talking about the future of the Bahamas, not scandals and scandalizing. We're talking about the future of this nation. So next year, we'll have another guest and we'll continue this conversation. Make sure you continue to support us. You want to say something, John?
No. I said thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you too, man. And ladies and gentlemen, these are the QR codes. You can scan these or click the link that just showed up on your chat, and you can donate to the party. Remember, it takes money to get this done. Even those crooked parties raise money, and so you can go here to GoFundMe, or go here, or just go to our website and you can make donations. Or support us when we're doing whatever it is out there that we're doing. All right. We have a raffle going on. Get your raffle tickets, man. Come in the car. Come in the TV and whatever else they're giving out in this raffle. Come win something. It's only $10. The book is $100. Come love yourself. Don't give Sebastian all the gambling money. Give some to us. Thank you to that person who just scanned the QR code. Thank you. One person scanned the QR code. But come and assist the party in any way you can because it takes money to get this going. We've been traveling the islands, we've been fighting for the people, and we continue to fight for the people, and we will continue to do so. So we're going to need your help to do that. So God bless all of you. We thank you. We're going to leave you again with this message that we always leave with you so that you could know that there's more, that this is possible. That they may think that we're promising someone so that you can vote for us. No. Countries have already done everything that we're talking about. And all we need is different leadership. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you. We love you. See you next time.
You know, a lot of people wonder how Dubai became a very big, famous, and rich city.
You see, if you're comparing with Nigeria, listen to this. Nigeria has oil before than Dubai. It's a history. They are more rich than us. They have agriculture, they have mining, they have everything, you name it, they have it. Am I right or wrong? When you have a true leadership, which we have nothing, but we have everything because we have the right leadership. That's the only thing you need, a right leader for your country, not corruption. That's what.
This may be the best citizenship in the world, and they all have it. Because of this card, they get free land, free education, free weddings, free hospitals, and even a free funeral. It's the citizenship of a country in the Middle East called the United Arab Emirates. This is what life is like for citizens from the Emirate of Dubai. And because the city is so generous, they get the craziest benefits I have ever seen. Are you ready for this? When you are born, your parents pay nothing. Your delivery and checkups for the next 9 months are all free. Then you grow up and you go to school. Local school in Dubai is free! And so are universities, because Dubai will pay for you to get a degree.
I studied at Zayed University and New York University, both for free.
Who's gonna pay for that?
The government.
Then you get married. If you can't afford the wedding, you get $20,000 to throw a wedding. And after marriage, every local Dubai family gets this. Free land! Did you get free land?
Yes.
Did you get free land?
Yes.
Did you get free land?
Sure, yes.
And if you cannot afford the home, then you get a grant to build it for free.
I also can't afford building a house. I can get a 0-interest loan on housing.
Zero?
Zero.
If you need to go to the hospitals are free. And if you need surgery that's not available here, they will fly you to another country to get treatment for free. When you become a senior citizen, you get discounts, many discounts. And if you live alone and can't afford it, Dubai will even send a caretaker to look after you for free. And when you die, well, in Dubai, that's also free. Your funeral will be taken care of, and Dubai will build a full tent with air conditioning within 5 hours of your death next to your home, so your friends can come and say goodbye to you. The point of government is to take care of people. And in Dubai, they take it to the extreme. Imagine if every city, every state, every government in the world did this. We would have a much happier world.
What happened in Dubai with the citizens?
Monarchy, and monarchy take care of their people and make sure that they paid 2,000 per family, maybe 3,000, and life is cheaper there. Life is cheaper, but all the Dubai citizens are paid, very paid.
From who?
From the monarch, from the king.
From the king?
Yeah, from the king.
Wow.
Money comes in through the government. The government distributes the money to the people. And there are no poor people. They're like only
Dubai,
poor people in
you
Dubai
cannot be
are
poor.
those that came
No
from
poor
another
in
country.
Dubai.
No poor in Dubai.
Just like Kuwait, they get money, like almost like American Indian the casinos. The money goes out to the people, okay? And the only poor people in Dubai or Kuwait are those who come from other countries to work for the citizens that are there.
Wow.
And in Israel, if you're a citizen, you get a lot of $10,000 and $50,000, but you have to wait per person.
Wow. Bahamas is happening around the world. In the Bahamas, we are a rich nation.
We are a rich nation.
And the
beautiful
Bahamas
nation.
government refused to give us money. Change is coming
change.
to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
It's coalition time.
I wish all the best for Bahamas to be rich people. That's it.
Thank you.
To be the rich people in the world. That's what people think. We are rich people in the world.
Wow.